After a pretty good first quarter, the beginning of the second quarter was certainly changed the game a lot, and they went on a big run. It was 17 at one point. We bounced back decently, got it to 6 at halftime, but the third was tough, and losing tie for the game obviously is a big blow. Go ahead, somebody.
Do you know any more on Ty right now, or is it just left leg soreness?
Left hamstring.
And do you have any sense on if he can return in this series this time?
We'll find out. We'll know more tomorrow, and then probably even more Saturday.
They had that big stretch, like you already mentioned, in the second, and then again in the third after you guys cut it to 2. What did you see as maybe themes in those runs that got away from you guys in this one?
Well, the bottom of the stat sheet's ugly. It's we lost the rebounds. The second chance points were a big factor, and turnovers once again were a big problem. And so, we got to do better in those areas.
As far as Ty's concerned, is it an aggravation of the same injury, or is it in some way new?
It's the left hamstring. I believe that's the same hamstring as before. Yes, sir. So it's sore.
Yeah, that was.
So I
don't know.
I know there's HIPAA laws and stuff like that, but I guess I could pretty safely say it's sore, it's aggravated. So.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
I know you want details. I don't have much. I mean, other than it's sore.
Okay, gotcha. You obviously had to shake up the lineup a little bit once he goes out. I guess you went kind of to the lower end of the bench about halfway through the fourth. What made you to kind of decide to kind of go with that when it was, I think, 15? I think you were down 15 or something like that at the point. What made you decide not to go back to the starters as much? To
look at some guys that I thought needed a look. McDermott went in there and played well. Isaiah Jackson brought a lot of fight to the game. Jalen Smith hasn't had much of an opportunity to play in the playoffs, and so I wanted to see where he was at, and we weren't giving up, but it was an opportunity to get some energetic, fresh guys in there to fight, and they did some good things. The guys that had played to that point, Pascal was very tired. Aaron had 4 fouls. He was tired. I mean, so that was it.
With Tyrese, did he come into tonight sore?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, and he also was dealing with a chest issue.
He got a rebound, and Jaylen Brown. I haven't watched it again, but Jaylen Brown looked like he almost went through him to get the ball, and Tyrese hit the floor. So he came back here, and he had a couple tests done with his chest, and then he fortunately returned pretty quickly. So.
Yeah, in a situation like that, I mean, you do have to think in long term, right? And both for the series and that was Tyrese's injury early in the season. That was pretty significant. So.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure what you're asking. He was unable to return. Okay, so it wasn't like it was a coaching decision not to play him. He was unable to return. So we hope that this is a very short-term aggravation. But again, we'll know more tomorrow, and then Saturday, obviously, the next game is coming quickly.
I did just have one more on Ty. He seemed like he walked off when you subbed him out. Like he didn't seem like he was limping or anything. Did he come and say something after? What happened, at least to your knowledge, that he aggravated it?
Well, he was sore at halftime. He was getting worked on through the entire halftime. Came out and gave it a shot, and was given all the effort that he could, but I haven't talked to him about it directly, so I can't read minds. But it wasn't going well. So the trainers determined that he needed to go to the back and get worked on, and he was ruled out.
But on like the chest, it wasn't a specific play that occurred. Like it wasn't like an incident that sparked that injury, just general soreness.
I don't know, and I think we need to move on to another topic here.
Sure.
Otherwise,
When you,
go ahead.
I was gonna say with the offensive rebounding in that second quarter, just what did you see from that? I know that's something that you guys struggled with in the Knicks series as well.
I haven't watched it yet. These guys spread you out a little differently than New York does, and they have great athletes, so they beat us to some balls, and we've got to flip that on Saturday night.
Is the job that you did on Tatum for most of the game something to build off of, and is it frustrating to do that kind of job and not have it be something that you can consider could have been part of a win?
We got to try to make it as difficult on them as possible. We got to be physical, persistent. We got to play our game. We have to have the right help at the right time if needed. We got to make these guys make difficult shots, and we got to rebound the ball. And they got a lot of guys over there that can score, And so we were doing some good things during the game. We just were not consistent enough, and the beginning of the second quarter was a killer.
Rick, you talked about that run. It was 20-0 end of first to the second. You dug yourself out of that hole, but in doing so, is that what you think led to some of the fatigue? It was such a daunting task to get back into it from that.
Well, it's I didn't realize it was 20-0, but that is a big hole. I mean, we had a 2-point lead at the end of the first quarter. I liked our first quarter very much, and then they started playing great, and we struggled, and so. Going to have to look at it to give you the exact answers on all of it. When we take a hit like that, we're a team that is pretty resilient and fights back. And so, getting it to 6 at halftime, was positive in my mind. We took a timeout, I think, with 2 minutes or 2.5. Did a good job to close the second quarter, and then third quarter continued to be difficult. I mean, we had some good stretches, but they got a little more separation, and it just got harder.
Angela, last one.
Coach, you haven't lost in Gainbridge Fieldhouse since March. How will going home be a good reset for this team and have confidence that you can get 2 wins at home?
Well, in the New York series, we were down 0-2 and came home and were able to win Game 3. And then, move along and do what we wanted to do. For us right now, we've got to concentrate on getting back as quickly as we can tonight, and preparing ourselves for our best possible effort on Saturday night. And I know that our building will be as loud and live as it's ever been. It's race weekend and everything else going on. And so we've got to take advantage of that. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it will be a better environment for us than playing here for sure.